How was the wedding, Steve? I don't think you got to tell us last time, right?
No, we did not
That's
talk
right.
about it.
Wedding was good. We flew in just behind the hurricane that blew through by like, I don't know, 6-8 hours or something. But it was nice, good weather, 80 degrees, sunny. We had like an hour or two of rain one night. That was it. Spent some time in the pool, spent some time walking the beach. Drank some beer. #shocker. It was good. It was good. My brother-in-law and sister were basically hosting because it was their condo, and I don't know. They've got the whole hosting and party thing down pat. So
That's awesome.
they, teed everything up for my brother and his now wife. Everything went great. It was super easy. It was super fun.
Yay.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
feel like
so
there
what
was a
was-
story. There was like a story you were supposed to tell us about I don't think you even gave us a tidbit. Just like I have to tell you about was what the tagline was.
Mhm.
Did something happen? Did they meet in a weird way or something?
No. What it was is there was not a whole lot of planning and communication going on about it. So my sister and brother-in-law, the planners, they weren't exactly wedding planners, but they were wedding coaches. If they didn't prod and poke and say, hey, you need to send this out, you need to tell people what's the attire, what's the itinerary, that sort of thing. They were pretty much the
Communicators.
the groom and bride whisperers
Yes.
to make sure it happened. So there was a lot of unknowns, but it all went fine.
Good.
So yeah.
What was a highlight of the trip? And it doesn't have to be the wedding, it's just anything.
Classic moment. We were doing the wedding on the balcony of this condo, right? About 10 to 15 floors up. And getting everything prepared. I somehow got nominated as the AV guy, so I had to handle that. And like an hour before the wedding, this crew comes in down below the condo with a big wood chipper and starts cutting down these palm trees, and it's just and we're like, oh my gosh, I wonder if this is going to impact the wedding.
Who would have thought of that? Let me make sure there's no wood chippers or tree cutters around.
Right. And so the wedding was supposed to be at like 5, and they were still chipping at like 5:10. But we had another issue where the wedding got delayed about a half an hour, so everything worked out fine.
They were done chipping.
The wood chipper was done. Yes.
Did someone have to talk to them and say, "Can you hurry up?" Or
actually, my brother-in-law went down there and said, like, "Hey, what time are you gonna be wrapping up?" Hopefully at like 4:30, and they're like, "We got to go till 5, but we'll be done at 5," and they were done at 5:10. So anyway, that was kind of funny.
That is funny. So would that be considered your low light as well? So what was the highlight and what was the low light? Or
that was not a low light. That was an amusing bit that, while it had us kind of like, really, it was also like, okay, this is kind of funny.
Yeah. Okay. So then what was a low light?
A low light. There really weren't any low lights. Highlight for me was walking the beach.
Yeah.
I probably walked 2 to 3 miles on the beach. I don't think there was a low light. Oh, the meal after the wedding was not as great as I hoped it would be.
Okay.
It was fine, but there was also, I think, a discussion to be had with the restaurant about that.
Got it.
So, anyway, but it was all good.
Good.
Now we segue to the more exciting topic. How was Albany?
Oh, I forgot about that. It was horrible.
Because so you were up there over the weekend, and we were going up there. So like I told my wife on the way up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm like, we were laughing, and so like the two places, like we were like, and they're like, we got to find out if these places are open, like what's going on with them. It was really funny. So
I did not know you were going up there too.
not to
I would
Albany.
have totally invited her to come with us.
She's not. I asked her. She's not into that.
Don't worry, there was nothing to be into, so it was like so bad. So I have one reference, which was the Thunder Down Under at the Medina Ballroom in like 2000 and.
Okay, so my mind's racing. You have a reference.
Okay.
Reference for what specifically?
For comparing. I was comparing.
Comparing what?
So 15 years ago, you
The
had
show,
you had an experience,
or like a part of the anatomy.
The show, the production.
Get out of here, Steve. I'm trying to make it dirty.
So in Albany, it was. So for those who are tuning in and don't know the context, it was Widow's Weekend up in Minnesota, where the men, mostly men, some women do it too, but mostly men, go deer hunting, and then the women back at home, they get together and they hang out and have a girls' weekend. Well, I wanted to find like a Thunder Down Under / Magic Mike type show for me and a couple of girlfriends. And I found one, and it was in Albany, which is a very small town in Minnesota, about an hour and a half west of the cities. And so me and my two girlfriends, we drive up there, and we are already starting to booze on the way, right? We grab lunch, we have a couple cocktails. We get there, we have a couple more cocktails when we get into the hotel, and then we're hungry, so we are like, let's go to dinner. There are 2 bars in this town on the main strip, and the 2 bars, one of them is a bar only, no food, and the next one is right next to it is the actual place where it's located, where this show is located. So we went to the bar only, didn't know it was a bar only, so we grabbed a drink there, and then we next went to the place, and they closed the kitchen at 7 p.m. because apparently they needed to get ready for the show. And I was like, are the cooks the ones who are actually in the show? I'm confused. Why do the cooks have to stop what they're doing for the show? I'm confused. Anyways, we were able to eat dinner, and we're boozing, but we've kind of been boozing all day. And the show started at 9. They let us in at like 8:15, and they kept on. And we did not get in at 8:15. We got in at like 8:45 because we didn't want to be the first ones there, but we didn't want to be last. Fine. And 9 o'clock comes around. Nothing happens. 9:30 comes around. One of the guys walked through the door, and you know how they have like, you know how sports players, like football players on TV, they interview you when you're walking through the hallways? That's kind of like the theme they were going with, is like, oh, someone's coming, and all the women are like, woo! And we're like, you know, it's gonna start. Then like 9:45 comes around, still nothing. They keep on talking. Any minute now, we're gonna get started. 10 o'clock rolls around. Okay, fine. So now we've been in there for over an hour and 15 minutes. And 10 o'clock rolls around. So now they have these 4 dudes up there. It's a stage, probably the size of my office. And the choreography was like, and it was horrible. They weren't in sync, and all they did is like pretend to grind, and like these stupid Magic Mike moves that any guy can do pretty much. And it was maybe 5 minutes of that. And then they said, okay, who wants a lap dance? Who wants to buy a ticket for $40 to get up here and get your own personalized lap dance? So now they spent another 40 minutes trying to sell these tickets. And then the rest of the show was them going one by one. Each woman would go up there and get her own personal lap dance, and next. Personal lap dance next. And that was the whole show. It was the worst production ever. But it was $20. So my expectations were here. You're on
Did you
mute.
get a lap dance?
No.
So is that a euphemism? Your expectations were here?
And
Okay,
this is
so-
what it turned out to be.
Okay, so did it meet your expectations?
It met my expectations of nothing.
Okay.
And by time like 10:30, 10:45 rolled around, because we were kind of already boozing all day and it wasn't exciting, we're like, let's just go back and go to bed. And so we did. We were in bed by like 11. Oh, we went back and went to the pool, stuck our feet in the hot tub and kind of hung out, and we're in bed before midnight. So it was fun hanging out with my girlfriends. That was the best part. Catching up with them, having girl time.
When is your next scheduled trip to Albany?
Yeah, not for a very long time.
Okay. Okay, so if anyone on Yelp gets a hold of this review, they can use that for whatever this place. I was trying to look up what it might be. You said like the main drag in Albany.
Yeah, and all this company did is rent out their event center. So I can't remember the name of the event center. If
Is
you
it
look,
Shady's Hometown Tavern and Event Center?
that is it. So they rented out their wedding side.
Got you. And you first went to Rookie's Sports Bar.
You are correct. There you go.
Okay, that is great.
So there's nothing against the bars. It was just the production itself. I can't even remember the name of it. It was horrible.
I thought it was like legitimate Magic Mike.
No, it's
Oh,
no, not at all.
how did it compare with your other one, with your benchmark?
Yeah, so my benchmark actually had choreography, and the dancers actually had production. Like each of them had their own little like 5-minute entertainment dance, and then they'd come out into the crowd, and that's when they would get their extra cash. And then the next guy would come. They would do their own little dance, come out to the crowd. Like I was expecting dancing.
How do they compare with the movie Magic Mike? I'm assuming so. I've never seen Magic Mike, and the only thing that makes me laugh hysterically is Anne Hathaway. She got to do a movie with Matthew McConaughey, and she was like so excited, and all she could talk about was Magic Mike, like his role in Magic Mike and the scissor kicks or whatever he does at the end. So like,
Yeah.
you know, she's like someone's like, well, what about this? And she's like, Magic Mike. Like, and the way she tells the story is hilarious because that's all she can focus on. So that's all I know. So it seems like the movie is way more involved than any of the shows.
For sure. Well, and again, what I experienced in Albany was like, they were very good looking men. Don't get me wrong. They were very fit and they looked pretty, but they had no rhythm, and they had no personality, and they had nothing to offer besides like that grinding that you receive for 4 minutes while you're up. And it was actually demeaning and demoralizing. Like I was actually getting pissed watching them treat the women that they did and how they treated these women. And so one time, like this, he did something and I go, okay, I'm ready to go. I can't watch this. It was horrible. It hurt me to watch how they treated the women, and yeah, I just didn't appreciate it. So
They're kind of like that one country singer that sings really good, but he can't talk.
Who's
I
that?
can't remember his name. He was like new, and they had him on New Year's Eve one night, and they interviewed him, and it was just like words just falling out of this guy's mouth. Like he just could not string a sentence together. And I'm like,
Was he
my
on?
wife's. No, that's the thing that's funny because my wife was like into country music, so I'm like, what? I'm like, are you serious? Like this guy? She's like, yeah, that's kind of how he is. Really good singer, and then cannot talk.
Oh yeah, these guys weren't neither. Really pretty looking. I'm not peeing, I swear. I'm pouring my box wine into my cup. If you hear the sound.
Nice.
Didn't think the first thing at all.
But I also didn't think box of wine either.
Box wine. I
thought it was some drink, yeah, for sure.
So I have a question, and you can say, I don't want to answer that. I'm totally fine with that.
Okay.
But when you say you saw how these guys would treat the women, can you give an example? Because I can't even, and if you go, I don't want to go there, that's fine.
I'll just say she was on her knees and it was very aggressive.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Were they into it?
The woman? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, like you're up on stage, so you're trying, you kind of are like everyone's watching you, but yet you really don't know what to do right now, and you're kind of frozen in fear.
Sure.
Like she was frozen in fear. So, yeah. Even like just thinking about it makes me mad.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you go there.
No, it's okay. Like that's why I was like, it was horrible. It was not good production.
Okay.
And she paid $40. Every woman who went up there got paid $40. And this one woman got lifted up, and that was kind of fun. And then this other woman, like, they laid her down on a bed, and like he was like pretending to do stuff on the bed. So like some of it was funny and like interesting, but the one when she was on her knees, I was like, not cool. But so yeah, not going there again. Other than that, it was fun.
I do want to come back to the time in Miami, Key Biscayne. Apparently, I saw a manatee in the wild.
Oh.
All I saw was a gray blob in the water, but there were people standing out there, waist deep in the water with their cameras, and the thing was just kind of hanging out there off the coast. And as I walked by, that was kind of interesting.
I'll be in Miami in a month and a half.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
Any special reason?
The boyfriend and I are going to the Keys, Key West. So we're gonna fly into Miami, drive the bridges to Key West, stay there for a couple days, and then drive back and stay in Miami.
Nice.
For a night. So yeah, I'm very excited. In the middle of January.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
How was what'd you guys do for Thanksgiving?
Hung out, went to my cousin's house, and no, that was wrong. I didn't make anything. I bought rolls. Oh no, I made corn. Have you ever Google searched how to make corn?
No.
Yeah, neither did I until that moment. I'm like, I said I'd bring corn, but I didn't want to bring a can of corn and like open it up and microwave it there. Like, that's not cool. And so I Google searched how to make corn. And it actually gave me recipes of like, it was a buttered corn. And so I made a corn out of frozen corn, and it turned out really good. So
Nice.
yeah.
Good.
What about you, Steve?
Went to my wife's sister's in the booming metropolis of Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. We brought homemade dressing, not stuffing, it's dressing.
Ooh, there's a difference?
Yes, it's
No,
stuffing.
there is not a difference between stuffing and dressing.
It's stuffing if it's in the bird. It's dressing if it's on the side.
I did not know that. You just blew my mind. Are you kidding me right now?
I'm not kidding.
Stuffing is literally stuffed in the bird, and dressing is okay. That makes sense.
What if you cook it in the bird and then take it out before you serve it?
It's still stuffing. That is stuffing.
Then it's druffing.
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 No, but it's a very good recipe that my wife started making like 20 years ago. And it's got like 3 different kinds of mushrooms in it, and homemade cornbread, and fresh thyme, and fresh herbs, and like a whole bottle of white wine is in there. You'd love it, Jess.
Yeah, sounds great.
Maybe if it's a whole box.
Yes.
A white wine.
Good point. So that's what we did. How about you, Ethan?
Okay, so the plan was to go to my sister's and have a great time. I can't remember what we were going to bring. Oh, no, they were going to order food. I don't know where they were going to order it from. So we get to Thanksgiving week, like Sunday, youngest kid, fever, not doing good, like really poor thing, just all out of sorts. So can't go to school Monday. And then other kids start to get it. So the 4 girls, that whole week leading up to Thanksgiving, they're just doing terrible. Fevers, coughs, body aches, like they're all dying. Like I really felt bad for them, but it does make me laugh because they're just like, they feel so bad, and I'm like, yeah, just like, you don't have to complain about it all the time, just feel bad and be quiet. like that's
Really?
fine. You could just not say anything too. So the 4 kid girls, they all go get tested influenza A. So we're like, well, we can't go to Thanksgiving. We didn't think we were gonna make it. So we have to decide 2 days before though, because that's when everybody's deadline is for ordering food, is that like Tuesday, to get it. And so our options are Lund's, Hy-Vee, and Sunshine Factory. And we're like, okay, so like Lund's, I'd rather do Hy-Vee. They have better options. So we like, we're thinking about it. It's getting down to the day. And I'm like, look, Kim starts not feeling well. And I'm like, okay, look, I don't want to heat anything up. And if you're not feeling well, like you're not going to help heating anything up. Like I don't want to do anything. So we go with the Sunshine Factory. And it was awesome. It was so awesome because we went and picked it up. Everything came in like one takeout plate for everybody. Everybody got hot. Yes, it was amazing. The food was warm. It was ready to go. So we went and picked it up at 3 and we ate. I was like, we're doing this every year. Like this was so good. Come with gravy. It was so cool. Gravy, wild rice soup, pumpkin pie, like turkey, mashed potatoes, dressing, corn. It was great.
Every plate, it was a plate, and every plate had portions of all that stuff on it.
Yep.
So then all you had to do is put the plate in front of you. Like there's no heating up.
No serving.
No serving.
Nope.
And no dishes, because I'm sure you could put the plates away. That is genius.
Yeah, and so it ended up being really good because since they were all sick, nobody wanted to eat anything, and we were only eating for like 20 minutes. That's all the energy they had. So it was like, eat a little bit, and then they were all gone. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Leftovers?
There were a buttload of leftovers.
Yeah. That is cool to know, though.
Yeah, so they did. You could go there and eat there, which a lot of people did, and then you could do curbside pickup, which was what we did because everybody was sick. So
I wish I would have known that, because my boyfriend had his kids, and this is his first year with like nobody. And he didn't know what to do. He's like, I'm not gonna make a whole meal for my kids who won't even eat it. He's like, and nothing's ever open. It would have been
yeah,
nice for me to know that, so he could have done something with his kids.
yeah, like we didn't. I thought everything was closed, and we had gone to the store and drove by, and we're like, oh, they're like really doing this. Okay, we'll keep that before anybody got sick or anything.
Yeah.
So then we get to Thanksgiving, and like, so my wife's not feeling good, and our son starts getting sick. Me, nope,
Nothing.
no symptoms, nothing. I got good immunity to flu A, like I'm good. But they're all, so then my wife this last week, she's not getting any better. It was probably just yesterday, actually. It was yesterday. She made an appointment for an online, like virtual visit. And the doctor was like, yeah, I was telling her, because I grew up here, upper respiratory stuff is like, it's a thing. I've always been aware of it. And so she was coughing. I'm like, look, your cough is higher. I can tell that you probably have bronchitis. It's too high in your chest. It's not producing. I can tell it's painful, like, especially when you compare it with the other kids, like theirs is producing, it's lower. And so she talks to the doctor. The doctor's like, yeah, I can already tell, like, you have bronchitis. So you get an inhaler. She's never had an inhaler, doesn't know how to use it. The doctor prescribed like codeine. I'm like, that is the best cough syrup. The best.
Yes, I agree.
And so she's all this stuff, like, I'm like, I haven't had codeine forever, but like I had a few times growing up. I'm like, yeah, take it, you'll sleep like a baby. So then this morning I asked her, I'm like, how'd you sleep last night? She's like, the best in so long. I'm like, yup.
Are you gonna steal some so you can sleep better?
No, I mean, like, I still have Ambien, and I've like, but it is what it is. Like, that helps me go to sleep and like stay asleep, but I don't necessarily feel more rested or sleep longer. So it's like, whatever, it is what it is. So, yep, that was our Thanksgiving. Plans completely blown up. Had a great time.
But it sounded awesome in the end.
We'd talked about doing our own thing anyway, because we were like, our family's big. We know that we're like kind of half the party anyway. Like, if we don't show up, it's not really a party. Because we have the numbers. But I'm like, maybe it's just time to just do our own thing from here on out. Like, we're big enough. So I like this. I'm definitely recommend for next year if you want to. Like, I think I'm gonna try and lobby to do it again too.
No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was, and our expectations were super low, right? I didn't know if it was gonna be a pile of stuff. Yeah, and we had to do it ourselves. I assumed it was gonna be hot, but I didn't know. I didn't know if it was gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then
the Sunshine Factory already like is good. Like, I like going there. They have good food, and so that's cool.
Yeah, so it was great.
I will have to remember that next year.
If you guys run out of tissues, we've used them all.
There's a shortage because we were there.
It was like Wednesday, like a couple days before Thanksgiving or something, or maybe the day before. Like, we go to the store and I grab like 2 like big like packs, and I was jokingly was like, this will get us through tomorrow. And like, yeah, it barely made it through tomorrow.
Seriously? Jeez.
Well, because we have 4 kids that were like basically in the throes of it, and then we had 2 other ones that were getting sick. So
my goodness. Yeah, Brooke had a threw up 3 times Sunday morning, and she was fine the rest of the day. Nothing was wrong. I was nauseous and sick to my stomach and lethargic all day Sunday. I slept for half the day on Sunday, but that's it. And then Monday we were fine. Those were like our only symptoms. Like, Brooke was a little lethargic on Sunday, but not as bad as me. I don't know what happened, but
there's flu season this year's bad. RSV is really bad this year.
RSV, yeah.
And so maybe this is controversial, but it is what it is. There's no such thing as the stomach flu. Influenza is a respiratory infection. However, sometimes your body has a reaction to viruses, and you can throw up and you can have diarrhea as a result of the virus.
Okay.
But the
There's
stomach
no
flu,
such thing as stomach flu, meaning all you do is throw up.
yeah, it's not like norovirus or gastroenteritis. Like those are viruses in your gut area. Like there's no flu that does that. Flu is respiratory.
Oh.
Because some of our kids, they were not feeling well. They were throwing up. Like that's actually what's. Oh, I know what it was. So Friday night, the night before, we were at the dinner, and our oldest called us like almost hysterical that the youngest was throwing up.
Oh.
And we're like, what is happening? We'd ordered them food because we were leaving, which we never do. And she's like, yeah, it's like all the she's got food poisoning. I'm like, it's really unlikely that she has food poisoning. How's everybody else doing? Like, no, I'm like, it's probably not that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we go home, and the poor kid.
Did you have to leave early from the dinner then?
We did. We left earlier than we wanted to, but other people had left at that point already. So we'd made it through all the meal and everything, and we're just kind of hanging out, and the group was getting smaller, which we were kind of looking forward to, but whatever.
I was supposed to be there. I was so mad. So do you know what we're talking about, Steve?
The exclusive Cool Kids Club, if you've been with the organization for a minimum of 10 years.
Correct.
Well, you got to tell everybody.
I didn't know that this was an exclusive Cool Kids Club because I am no longer on any reports. Literally, they pull reports, and because of my new role, I am off reports.
I was wondering if you were just at one of the I thought you were just at one of the other ones.
Huh?
Yep. How I am categorized now within our organization, I no longer am on reports. And so I was informed of this exclusive dinner like 5 days before, and I just got the cabins. And I've been waiting for these cabins for a whole year. I put my name in all the available times that I'm open with, either when I'm with the girls or if I'm with not the girls and I want to bring my boyfriend, or I want to bring my best friends, or I want to bring people. I always put my name in if I'm available. And for the first time this year, I won. And so I won and I said yes. And then like the next day I get oh, sorry, we totally forgot. Like, we didn't notice that you were missing from our list. So here, come to this dinner. And I'm like, so then my boss was like, I really want you at this dinner. Like, it's very important for you to be at this dinner. He's like, so I would like to see if you can rearrange your plans. And I'm like, I didn't fuck this up.
I was just going to say, if it was so important to you, it would be important for me to be on the list to begin with.
I didn't fuck this up. So I said, if you really feel that bad, I think it would be a good idea for you to allow me to expense a dinner. Allow me to go do my original plans, because I coordinated it with my friends and my boyfriend, and like allow me to do that, and then allow me to expense a dinner.
Isn't there one more tomorrow?
No, that was the last one.
Oh, I thought there were 3, and I thought I thought there was one in December.
Not that
How would she know?
That's true. That's true. Because we'd gone out. We were talking about going out for the cabin as well on one of the weekends, and we talked about that date, and that was exactly, it was like, well, do we want to do it and then we can skip it? And I'm like, or we can go up late, or we can go up the next day, and we're like, you know what? Let's just not do it, and we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So and so then I went to my boss and said, what can we do to fix this? Because this is not the first time I've been missed from a lot of perks that we get at our organization. And so I'm like thought of after the fact. And so, but yeah, I don't know how I can fix it.
Well, and it's weird. So another managing director that switched to managing director this year, who started around the same time as us, was also there. And I'm like, okay, I can't tell if it's length or role that you're here. I'm assuming it's length, but now it's
no,
weird.
He's not length.
I thought he was 10 years too.
No, he's only been with us for 6.
6, okay.
Yeah. And who we're talking about is who took over for me, right?
No.
Oh, the one who didn't take over for me. Yes. The other manager. Okay. Yes.
He has
been here for 10.
Yeah, because he and I started around the same time.
Yes, he's been here. Yep. He was about 6 months after I started. Yeah. I didn't realize that you and I started around the same time.
Yeah, our organization's really funny because we've got like this. Steve and I were talking about this. We saw a metric where the average time in our organization is like 4.5 years. And I'm like, we have one person that's been here for like 25. We have like this cohort of people that have been here for like between 10 and 12. Yep. And then we've got like a bunch of new people too. So
yeah, 4. Sounds about right.
That seems like we definitely have cohorts though we've got a big group 10 to 12, and then it seems like around 6 years is another, and then 3 years are kind of like the big cohorts.
There was a time there we skipped a couple of years. I don't know how to say this. Like, we'll have a lot of people 6 years plus, but we won't have a lot of people 5 years. A lot of people left. And then now more people are staying.
Yep.
Yeah. So we skipped a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've got, 3 years, 2 years of the pandemic, and then the other 2 years before that.
And a lot of people stayed during the pandemic because everyone was scared shitless for their jobs. They had no clue to what the economy was going to do, the market was going to do. So no one quit and left during that time.
And then the monocle was on the other eye.
Yep.
Is that an old-timey saying, or did you just make that up?
No, that is
visualize you doing this.
I'm channeling a phrase that I've used for the last, I have to count, 40 years. And it is taken from a episode of Hogan's Heroes.
Oh, my grandpa watched Hogan's Heroes.
Ah, yes, your grandpa. Awesome. But anyway, my brothers and I use that phrase.
Which came first? Is it Hogan's Heroes and then MASH?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. Hogan's Heroes, then MASH. Yeah.
That makes sense because my dad watched MASH.
Yeah. So what's the thingy called?
Monocle.
Monocle. Yeah, that thing where you like bring it over to the side, like.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So
I liked it when
have turned. Would you prefer that, Ethan?
I prefer the Michael Scott version.
Which is
how the turntables have.
Okay. Nice. I like it.
That's totally something I would say.
It's so great because you expect him to finish it and he doesn't. So, did you know pirate eye patches weren't like for when someone got their eye shot out?
When was it for?
It was actually for when they went up or below deck to fight.
Oh.
And so if you go below deck, because what happens when you go into a dark place, because it was dark below deck, is that you can't see anything. Your eyes need time to adjust. But if you have an eye patch and you switch it, you have one eye adjusted already. And so you can see better in the dark.
Oh my gosh, no. Again, are you really blowing my mind again?
Yeah, Mythbusters did a episode on it. It's pretty funny.
What? Pirate eye patch.
He saw it on the internet, therefore it is true.
TV, so it's definitely true.
No, that makes sense because I've seen or I was reading a book one time where somebody did that. They were out in a bright spot, and they were going into a dark bar, and
It says an eye patch was more likely to be used to condition the eyes so the pirate could fight in the dark.
Yep.
It takes an average human eye about 25 minutes to fully adapt from bright sunlight to seeing in complete darkness. If a pirate was fighting on the deck in the sunlight and had to continue the fight under the deck where it was usually pretty dark, it could take too long for their eyes to adjust and the pirate would be able to see. Oh my gosh, my mind is blown. What did you blow my mind about earlier, Steve? Oh, stuffing.
Dressing and stuffing, yes, or druffing.
Druffing. Wow, this is a very informative time.
This is an educational episode.
Yes, I am very happy right now.
Did you guys participate in the Friday of Darkness this year?
What is Friday of Darkness?
Black Friday.
Oh. I thought you were referring to Darkness Days at a local brewery, but never mind.
I thought you were referring to
Steve.
The winter equinox.
Yeah, there goes Steve. Alcohol.
I know. We tried to buy some furniture, but that didn't pan out.
Why? Didn't have what?
We couldn't make a decision, and we decided we needed to solve one problem first before we decided on furniture. And that is, we currently have a big TV on one wall, and it sits on this big credenza, and it drives me crazy because it takes up too much room and it isn't in a great spot. So we decided to get a new mantle mounted TV above the fireplace, since we hardly use the fireplace but 5 times a year, and then you can pull the TV down in front of the fireplace.
Perfect.
So we did that and decided that would be our Christmas gift.
Got it.
And then we will get the other TV moved out, do something with it. If you know anybody who needs a 65-inch TV, I don't know what to do with it, because we had to go with something smaller that would fit above the mantle. Anyway, so that'll be on my list to do in the next couple of weeks, is swap those out.
Don't get me started about TVs. I have 2 45-inch TVs in my closet right now because my boyfriend decided to buy my girls a TV for Christmas.
Ooh, dude.
So, here was the conversation. We're all hanging out, and I'm like, "Girls, what do you want from Santa?" And my girls said a TV. And their bedrooms are small. I don't know if you can tell how big my office is, but they're like this big. And I'm like, that's a really good idea. Like a small TV would be really nice. And the boyfriend, not my boyfriend, the boyfriend, because I was very mad at him at this time, said, "I will buy you TVs." And the girls are like, "Oh my God, yes, 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 yes." I'm like, "No, you're not going to buy them TVs. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not." 2 weeks of him and I going back and forth saying, "You're not going to buy them TVs. I want small TVs. I want normal size. Their rooms are small. I want no." And he said, "Let me buy them a TV, please, please." And in my brain, I thought me arguing for 2 weeks about having a small TV went through his brain, thinking, okay, I'm going to allow you. If I say yes, you're going to get a small TV. No. I said, yes, you can get them a TV. And he said, let me give you a 45-inch TV because it was cheaper than the 30-inch TV.
Yep.
And I now have 2 45-inch TVs in my closet that won't fit into their rooms. They don't fit. There's nowhere for me to put these TVs.
Target. So we have a TV in the girls' room, but it's been dying. It's very old. And so when they got sick, they're like bedridden. We're like, they don't want to hold something, like, and we're like, all right, we're gonna replace it.
Yep.
So they have these 32-inch TVs at Target. We got it for
perfect.
We got it for $140. It should still be on sale for like $100 if it's still there. Yeah.
That's all I wanted. I wanted $100 TV for them. And so now I said, take them back. Take them back. And he said, no, I'm not taking them back. Yes, you are. And now we are literally fighting because I don't want these TVs.
Is he good with
yeah, make him put it up.
Is he good with spatial relationships? Like
obviously not.
And looking at the room and going, where would this TV fit?
Obviously not.
Do you know there are studies?
All he thought about was, oh, this is cheaper than this. Let me get this one because it's bigger.
Has he been in their room before?
Yes.
He probably does. It's actually, like, I'm pretty sure there are studies that back up that, like, men are better at the spatial, like, how things fit together most of the time.
He told me that his kids had a smaller TV and he had to upgrade their TV, which is why he just wanted to go big first rather than smaller.
Okay.
Do you have a TV in your room?
I do. It's 32 inches. And my room is bigger and it's perfect size.
How, like, our room, I can't remember if it's 12 or 14 feet long, but a 32-inch TV is too small, like, in our room. Like, 55 is probably the smallest that we would get.
I have a small house, though. Not small, but it's perfect.
So you're saying it matters that it's 45 instead of 32?
Size matters.
I don't know. I'm kind of getting vibes like he didn't do it the way that you wanted to.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I can't fit a 45-inch TV.
Make him do it. Let him do it.
Yeah.
You're not an acts of service person, are you?
I'm like 2020. Like, I'm tall.
What about your daughters?
Reese is gifts and Brooke is quality time.
Nice.
And that's another thing is my girls, I don't want them on the TV all the time. I don't want them hidden in their rooms and on TV. I don't want to make it comfortable for them to just go into their rooms and watch TV. I want it to be small. I want it to be just something that at the end of the night they turn on and that's it. I am not that type of mom or parent who I want them to be in the room with me in the living room and watching TV with a big screen. I don't want them in their bedrooms with a big screen so that they can go away from me.
Are they introverted?
Reese is introverted. Brooke, actually it's opposite. Reese is extroverted, Brooke is introverted.
Because we've got some of our kids are, and we can really see it. Like, my wife and I've talked about it when we go get together, when we travel and we're with family. It's like, I mean, even when, like, one of our daughters spends best friend in the world, it's like they can only spend like 24 to 36 hours together before she needs a break, and it's because she's an introvert. Like, she needs time to recharge. So, like, our kids, like, there are times when, like, Thanksgiving, like, family dinner is like really fun, everybody's having a good time, but it's like, yeah, they do kind of, we all like to watch different things and separate and stuff. And if they're introverted, it would make sense that they might want that. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have enough space in our house right now. We're physically too big because, like, we've got 2 adult-sized children and, like, a third one that's almost adult-sized. And so it's like, we don't have enough space for everybody to get far enough away from each other, like, right now.
Are you going to move? Have you thought about moving?
we're gonna be here for another year and a half, and
Okay.
then we're gonna move. We'll see what the housing market does. So we may buy something and just have two for that time period, but we'll see. The plan
Mortgage rates are horrible right now.
right now, yeah. So like we're not gonna do anything right now. It would
No.
probably be 6 months to a year.
Yeah, as
is
soon
what
as
we'd be
they
looking
start
for.
coming down. Like I refinanced at like 3.2 something. So I don't know. That to me is about right.
Yeah. So we'll see. No, for the short term, we're not moving.
I'll move in like I just met with my financial advisor today, and he made it very morbid because the beneficiary on my IRAs is my ex-husband. And he's like, you should probably change that.
Yep, stat.
Yep, probably should do that. But my beneficiaries are my girls and they're minors, so I can't put them on there because they can't make decisions and I can't give it to them if anything were to happen to me tomorrow. And so now he's like,
Don't you have to create an estate or something?
yep, I need to create a will and an estate and all that stuff so that the beneficiary is in like, I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, it's like it's this really weird thing where it's like you get it to a point where the people that you want it to go to, it goes to, and they can do what they want, but it's like they don't actually like technically get it. It's really weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was like a morbid thought. I haven't thought about that before. I knew I had to do this at some point, but
you haven't thought about not being here anymore, and not in like a I'm tired of this planet type thing, but just like a weird.
I visualize myself as a cute little old 90-year-old, like still drinking my box wine in my nursing home with my friends and my girls coming to visit me and like giving me facials and doing my hair. So no, I don't like if anything were to happen to me tomorrow, a week, in a year, I just don't visualize. I don't see that.
I don't visualize it, but it's a thing that
It is,
I'm
sure.
constantly aware of. And I have a theory that it's like a father thing. I have a number of friends who no anxiety prior to having a family, and then all of a sudden they have a family and it's like there's like they have all the anxiety that anybody could
just
have
die tomorrow.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was joking with my wife too about something, and I don't know, she was bragging on me about something. She's like, I don't know, but I made a joke and I'm like, it's so that like I'm here like 6 months from now, like
I'm still gonna be here, don't worry. So I don't know where this conversation started.
You were telling us about your wonderful financial advisor. Do you have a financial advisor, Steve?
I do not, but I need one.
I have an amazing one. I really like him.
Yeah?
He's good. I think I like him more because my ex is the one who found him, and like during the divorce, he chose me.
Nice.
So I think that's why but like him and I have always connected, and I've always been like, we need to talk to our financial advisor about this. This can change how like our 401k is allocated. This could change our retirement plan. And my ex was like, no, we don't need to communicate. And so then I would reach out to the financial advisor and be like, hey, this is what's going on. What should we do? And he'd give me advice, and then I'd tell my ex, and then he wouldn't believe me, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I really like my financial advisor.
Do you plan on making more money in retirement or less money than you do now in retirement?
According to the projections, I'm 95% on track to be able to live the way I do today. So with inflation, with
Yeah, but that's not what I asked. So the all the retirement savings and investing and stuff,
Yeah.
the idea when you do especially like the Roth stuff or the pre-tax stuff is that you will make the same or less than you do now because you have to pay taxes on that stuff when you take it out.
But the projections he was indicating is that like the same is not the same when I'm 65. And so with inflation and with my potential salary increases, maintaining the way I live now, where I spend this amount, and the projections of maintaining spending and inflation, yes, I'm going to be able to retire and live the same way I do now. The same way I do now, and this is what I told him, is that I don't want to have to live paycheck by paycheck. Like, I'm very comfortable to where I can even choose to go on a vacation in 6 months where I can plan for it and I know what to do 6 months from now. Like, that's the goal, is that I can live the way I do and plan a vacation 6 months from now and be okay with that. And he said, yes, I'm 92% successful in that
Nice.
plan. So I'm like, I don't really trust your projections. But okay. My gut was like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm like 63% successful with that. I don't know. I don't like that algorithm. Whatever data they're using to project that doesn't feel right to me. So.
It's tough to know, right? It's based on like 40 years of data. It's based on not a lot of data. So, but sometimes you have to make decisions based on not a lot of data.
Well, and we've already gone through a couple of crises throughout our lifetime. There's gonna be more. So I don't know what the next couple of crises are going to bring. And who knows that if when retirement age comes, that crisis will be in the middle of that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think about. Those are the risks I think about. So.
You've been through like 5 crises, Steve, huh?
Yeah, the Starbucks near me closed last year. That was one. No, that is.
Is that Starbucks brewery? Is that a local watering hole?
Yeah. Crises? I don't know. I don't know if I'd call them crises. Interesting challenges.
The depression in the 80s, the gas shortage in the 70s. I almost said 50s, sorry.
It's okay. You know, I look at the pandemic. You consider the pandemic a crisis?
For sure.
It was kind of, but it worked out in my favor on a number of levels.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It made me, a friend and I had an interesting conversation about that, because it will be interesting to see how history remembers and what stories are told about this particular pandemic, because we think of the Great Depression and how everything was terrible. That is not what I heard from my grandparents. So I don't know if it was everybody. It seems like it wasn't everybody. You know, even the Spanish flu. Yes, there are horrific stories where both parents passed away from the flu and the kids were orphaned, but there are where whole towns got it. But you know, there are also stories where they weren't impacted the same way. So interesting.
Yeah. My bigger thing during the pandemic was I was dealing with a health issue. And when we started working from home, it allowed me to go to the doctor twice a week.
Oh, yeah.
Which didn't really impact my day.
Yeah.
Because my doctor was 10 minutes from my house. So, to me, it worked out okay.
Well, that's good. But it's still a crisis.
Was it weird during that time? Yes. But I am also wired, sadly, to sort of forget the past and always live in the present and look at the future 6 to 12 months from now. I'm always wired that way.
Really?
And so I'm not terribly nostalgic, or I'm not like, oh, I should save that. That's a memory from my dad back then, I don't think about that. So I don't think about the past much, which is
So I have a
probably why I continue to repeat my same mistakes
question.
over and over and over.
Don't do that. I have a question. Do you have anxiety?
I don't think so.
No?
I think about some things, but not about a lot.
So the reason why I asked that is because I've talked to my girls about this. If you think about the past and that's all you think about, you're depressed. If you think about the future and that's all you think about, you have anxiety. And so when you said, I don't think about the past, that like to me indicated, you're not very depressed. Like you don't get sad often. But when you said, oh, I think about the future and I'm always planning, that thought in my head, I wonder if he has lots of worries and he's always thinking about what's going to happen next and I need to plan this, I need to do that. And so there's like a worry there.
Probably to some degree, but I think in the last 5 to 10 years, I have stopped worrying too much.
And that's maturity. Like
it's when you get to be my age.
Correct. You're like, fuck it.
I said it, you didn't have to. Because I think there's a lot of things that I deal with, I think, at work in the last 5 years that 10 to 15 years ago would have driven me mad. And now I just kind of go, whatever.
But that's maturity, like you've learned. And so I think about a couple of people I know who are depressed and anxious. And all the conversations revolve around the past and what's going to happen in the future. And so I see it in my youngest. She worries about the future. She's always worried about the test tomorrow or the assignment due next week, or like she's always worried about that. But then she's always sad about the marriage breaking up and the divorce and mommy and daddy not. So like I see her struggle with depression and anxiety all the time, and she is 9 years old. It is the saddest. Like it breaks my heart to watch this. And she's in therapy and I go through therapy just so that I can help her. And like that's where my brain went when you were talking about that.
Have you guys ever talked to somebody about PTSD?
Yeah.
By chance? I only bring it up because I have a friend that he's going to therapy, and after he started to have these breakthroughs, and I'm like, hey, he's like, I had this breakthrough about my ex and why my kids trigger me. And I'm like, hey man, I'm like, as an FYI, I'm like, you probably want to go talk to someone who specializes in PTSD, because I'm pretty sure that you have narcissistic induced PTSD. Like, and the reason is because PTSD manifests itself with anxiety and depression. So like it's not uncommon for people to have anxiety so it appears as though they have anxiety, but the underlying cause is PTSD.
I was thinking about this just today. Is everyone a narcissist? Like I literally asked that to myself today. Am I a narcissist? Are you a narcissist? Are you a narcissist? Are we all just narcissists? Like I'm so confused because everyone has narcissistic tendencies. Is everyone just a narcissist and we're just throwing that word around to make people feel bad about themselves?
No, narcissism is like a thing that's really bad. So I think if you ask yourself whether or not you are one, you're not, because a narcissist wouldn't even fathom to think that thought. It's sort of like if you think that you if you think that you suck at something and then wonder if you have imposter syndrome,
Yeah, you're not an imposter. Like you're able to.
You're not an imposter. Like you probably are really good. Which I think that is imposter syndrome, isn't it? Where it's like you feel like you're an imposter, but
yeah, you feel like you don't belong.
Yeah, so like if you think to yourself like, oh, I really suck, like I'm not good enough, like it means that you are probably really good at what you do.
I was driving and I follow on TikTok narcissistic type messages. And every so often, I'm like, well, I do that too. Like, who doesn't do that? And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Are you then I started thinking about all the people in my life. I was like, well, they're a narcissist then too. Am I a narcissist? And then I stopped.
there is a therapist, I can't remember his name, but for a little while he'd been doing like, it's like him and like his husband or something, and his husband would ask him like a specific question about narcissism or a narcissist, and then he would explain it. And it's like it's way more messed up than like one single attribute.
I know. And then I thought, well, fuck, I started asking myself that question with my ex-husband, which made me question myself, made me question who I am. And I thought, why am I questioning myself right now? I should not be questioning myself right now.
I can tell you that your messaging a lot of times is about you, but that doesn't mean that you're a narcissist. If that makes sense.
No, tell me more. What do you mean?
Like the things that you say are like they're about you. Like it seems like everything is framed from your position, right?
Got it. That's true.
That's not narcissism.
Because the old, like the 1980s definition of narcissist is an ego, self-loving, all they do is talk about themselves.
Yeah, and it's like it's way more dangerous. Like,
yeah,
it's so much worse than that.
Now.
Yeah, I think so. I bet the definition of the 80s is probably more like just not, I don't know, lack self-awareness maybe. Like they just think these things about themselves, and they
highly
no matter the evidence that is presented to them, they won't hear it.
Oh, what were you gonna say, Steve?
I was gonna say, and then I caught myself, and I thought maybe it's a good topic for next week, which is, what is something you often question about yourself? Like I often question, am I a terrible listener? Because sometimes I'm just waiting to sort of like jump in with my own anecdote, and I'm thinking sometimes I'm missing what they're saying because I'm too busy trying to remember what came into my head that I want to say, and I'm not fully paying attention to what somebody said.
This is a great topic. Seriously. Like, we need to dive in deep next time, because I feel like this has been 3 episodes in itself.
Yep.
Write it down, Steve. Write it down. So you don't forget.
I already forgot. The box wine is hitting me. Am I a drunk? Am I an alcoholic?
No,
not anymore.
That's a good call. Not anymore.
Oh man, I was pounding away there with the booze during the pandemic. I will say that.
See, during the pandemic, man. God.
I think all you guys were, which is like, it's really funny, right? And so for those that don't know, like drinking's not my thing. Like it just isn't. So when we go to happy hour, it's like I'm the I'm not participating in the libations as much as other people. These two.
I do
No, but
enjoy
you're-
my beer.
But I mean, you think back to all those, like, you know, even before the pandemic, just that kind of group of people, it was pretty funny when we do happy hours and like kind of how lit people would get. But yeah, in the pandemic, it was no holds bar, right? Didn't have to go anywhere, didn't have to drive. You just go till you wanted to.
Yep. We're in front
And
of
I did.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like that's what being adults about. You have alcohol in the house.
Yep.
That's
I
right.
can buy it. I can have it delivered to my doorstep. And I was going through a divorce.
Yeah, yep, that too.
So I was like accentuating the fact that I was drowning my sorrows with alcohol.
I mean,
You can
there,
admit that.
yeah, and there's worse things too.
Yep.
And also, it's like, I mean, to be fair to you, it's like if it wasn't the pandemic and that, it probably wouldn't have been as pronounced.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. You're like, you're no longer an alcoholic.
Yeah, I think there's an episode where we did talk about that, and I was like, yeah, or like we had agreed that you kind of were at that time.
Did we really? I don't remember
I
that.
think so.
I
I
was
think
probably
so.
drunk.
I don't know. I guess I never really felt like I needed it. It was just like I want it and I can, and I'm not a danger to anyone.
I want it and I got it and I can, so I will.
Yep.
I agree. I wasn't a danger. Like, I was still able to parent. I was still able to work. I lost a couple of maybe potential good boyfriends because I was drunk with them 24/7, but I didn't care.
But is this like a Fun Bobby type deal where you lost them because you guys stopped drinking?
Fun Bobby.
I need to write this down as a potential future episode. Lost
Boyfriend.
boyfriend due to booze. I think that's a great episode.
Oh, no, not good.
All
So you
right.
guys
Yep.
know when? So this is my wife's chair. My chair died. That thing
Oh,
on the office where it's like it just slowly goes down and it never stays up all the way.
oh.
So I had to order a new chair. I haven't put it together yet.
Oh,
She's like, well, I don't want you to break my chair. I'm like, dude, my chair's old. Like, and it was cheap.
Where did you get your chair?
Mm,
Did you get the
Yes.
same one?
no, I ordered a different one. So I got this brand this time, which is hopefully higher quality. I had just gotten a cheap like gaming chair at the start of the pandemic. Yeah, mine was GT Racing, the GT Racer, which was like the off-brand of I can't remember what the name brand racer was, but
So when the whole pandemic started and, we're meeting with people, I would see different chairs. And it's funny because I would see consultants in gaming chairs and I would see like ops and like these fancy chairs. And I'd be like, the fancy chair does not look comfy. Like, it looks super nice and I'm sure it's like quality, but I need to sit in here for a really long time. And I'm like, then I was talking to more and more consultants about what types of chairs they use, and like a gaming chair, and again, this is a generic because I don't even game. But like, it's
You've
so-
got game when it comes to wine. Don't sell yourself short.
I had no game. But yeah, it's like finding a good chair for sitting in it 8 to 8+ hours a day is so important. And I don't like those fancy chairs. I want a good, comfy gaming chair.
I think the consultant's fun because I think they all had those before, which I think is
Exactly.
hilarious.
They already had 'em.
I have both. I have a gaming chair and I have a comfy fancy one, but I have I think coccydynia, I think is what it's called. So I have a dislocated coccyx. and it's never going to get fixed.
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, dislocated coccyx. For lay people out there, that is the term for your tailbone, coccyx.
Oh, thank you for
Yep.
clarifying.
Because I'm like, okay, Jess thinks it's penis stuff. We gotta, like, that's not what's going on. Anyway, so they're all chairs are uncomfortable for me anyway. So my recommendations for everybody who sit: get a coccyx pillow. Yes, you can go search for that on Amazon and it will come up legit. It's not going to come up with weird adult
but if
sites.
I spell it the way I'm thinking about it, it might come up weird.
There's a Y and an X in the word.
Okay, thank you.
I'm blocked from getting to that website.
Nice. So those I recommend to everybody that sits, and then standing desk must, because sometimes
I bought a standing desk.
Yeah.
I have to have one.
Yeah. Sitting, even I've learned even just changing chairs to sitting into a different chair is very helpful too.
I love watching you. Like, there's meetings where I see you here, and there's meetings when I see you here, and I can tell every time. But now I'm just so used to it, it's like normal for me.
Yeah. I got my snowflakes up now.
I love them.
My wife saw them and she's like, I kind of miss the bats. I'm like, yeah, those are going to be permanent after this holiday season. I also miss the bats. Yeah. That's how the cat happened. Like, I put it up for Halloween.
Just like the cat.
Yeah.
No, I like the snowflakes. I was gonna put something back there, but I puked Christmas all over my first floor. So I'm done with Christmas decorating.
It is the background I have found during the pandemic is such a simple, which is why Steve's changes all the time. I think he's learned this too. It is the easiest thing to do, but like it is like a huge ROI as far as ice breaking goes when you're working with people. Didn't expect that. I had a meeting where it was our interview like meetup, and someone was like, is that a real background? And I'm like, yeah, it's real, right? So it's like, and then the other one I had that you guys are familiar with is the clock.
Oh, I just did that tonight with Brooke. Why? I just did that tonight where we put our dog's paws in like a clay.
Oh,
this is a coccyx cushion.
Why is there a hand?
It's memory foam.
Oh, I was like, why is there a hand?
It's, you want to get a little frisky, but you're at work, so